I'm Susan Thraen. I am the Director of Development at Holly Hall. I'm also a fourth-year member of the Junior Forum and the Site Coordinator for Holly Hall Retirement Community.
Hi, I'm Maxi Andrews. I've been a member of the Houston Junior Forum for over 40 years. During that time, I was on the staff at Chapelwood Methodist Church, so I wasn't able to do much past my 6th year, but I stayed in touch with all the great friends and the various organizations that were supported by the Junior Forum. So when I went to the Junior Forum committee that selected grant recipients, it occurred to me that Holly Hall would be an ideal place to be a grant recipient.
So, Mopsy, could you tell us a short history of Holly Hall and how you became involved with Holly Hall?
Yes, I was involved with Holly Hall since 1964. I was a new mother, and I joined a circle of women at our United Methodist Church, and they were involved with Church Women United, who were a group of leaders in Houston, women leaders, and people that were active at various churches in Houston, and they were wanting to start the first ever senior adult Christian retirement home. So they chose to do Holly Hall, and they thought that they would go ahead and ask one of our very successful Houstonians, Glenn McCarthy, if he might donate some land out by the new football stadium, which he did. And at that point, other churches started supporting Holly Hall because they had made such a statement in caring for senior adults. And one of the men at our church, who still lives there now, said this is a genteel place to live. Wonderful, loving, both personnel and other residents. So those are the two components of my involvement. I was also involved in the neighborhood that was around the Shamrock Hilton, which Glenn McCarthy had built, and he was very generous to donate the land for Holly Hall.
And how many years did you serve on the board, or how did you become involved as a board member at Holly Hall?
Well, I'd served at Chapelwood for 30 years, and in 2010, I retired, and I just happened to go to the Holly Hall Silver Tea that year, and a good friend of mine, Mary Bain Pearson, was there, and she came over and she said, I hear you've retired from Chapelwood. And I said, yes. And she said, well, I'm going to submit your name to be on the board of Holly Hall. And I thought, oh, that's great, because I have a really good friend who both his grandmother and his mother were very involved and lived at Holly Hall. The grandmother was part of that Church Women United group that helped get it started. And so I've always been interested in Holly Hall and do think it's a wonderful place, especially the fact that they take care of their residents and help them be able to stay there.
So how did you first become involved, or how did you first introduce Holly Hall to the Junior Forum?
I was asked to be on the grant committee when I started in the Junior Forum in 72, and I went on the grant committee, and it just seemed like that Holly Hall was a great place but could use more volunteers. So I approached the Holly Hall board and said I'd like to submit the Houston Junior Forum as a wonderful place for us to support. So we went there that Christmas and we helped them decorate for Christmas. We helped take the residents to the various worship services. we're supportive of the book reviews and also people who need someone to push them maybe in a wheelchair to church on Sunday mornings. So that's how I got involved there, and it's really been a joy to get to know the residents and the staff at Holly Hall.
All right, and then the last question I had is, why do you have a love for Holly Hall and service in our community?
I am a native Houstonian, and it's been so amazing to see the way Houston has grown and reached out to people in so many different ways. I admired the fact that Holly Hall saw a need for a retirement community and that those women acted on that. I see Holly Hall being very innovative in their service to senior adults. And also, I think I was just born with a desire to serve. I get a lot of gratitude for being involved with that. And when I was on the staff still at Chapelwood, because my mom had Alzheimer's, I started an Alzheimer's support group there. So there's so many ways that people need a little helping hand.
Thank you. All right.
So Susan, why don't you tell us about how you got involved in Holly Hall?
Well, I started working at Holly Hall in 2015, and that is when I met Mopsy, who was a current board member at the time, and she told me about the Junior Forum and how great it was, and it was actually sort of great timing for me. I had really wanted to start volunteering in the community a little bit more at that time, and it's, even though I was working full time, I felt like it was a good fit, and that I would be able to, complete the hours. And so it just seemed like a great opportunity, and so here I am, now a member. And it was great to see Holly Hall get involved and see all the service that the members bring to Holly Hall as well.
And we do have members in the forum whose parents have lived at Holly Hall, and they're so grateful to have such loving care for their families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to ask about the partnership that we have together?
Yes. Susan, why don't you tell us about the partnership that the Junior Forum and Holly Hall have?
Okay, great. So I think the biggest benefit of partnering with the Junior Forum for Holly Hall has been the volunteer service that the members have provided. They really bring a lot of love to the community when they come on campus. They provide, one-on-one assistance. They've helped with socials and bingo games, you name it. They've done it all, and they've really just brought such a caring and loving, energy with them when they're there with the residents. And I think that's sort of the biggest thing. And in addition to that, the Junior Forum has really been very generous through the community grants that Mopsy mentioned. There have been a lot of things that the forum has provided, including a television set for our community spaces, evacuation chairs that help evacuate residents during emergencies, vital signs monitors that are used on a daily basis in our healthcare facility, and then most recently some exercise equipment that has benefited our health and wellness programs. And all of these things wouldn't have been possible without the help of the community grants program at the Junior Forum. So we're incredibly grateful to the Junior Forum in so many different ways.
There's always room for one more, and for those who want to feel a sense of supportiveness and a validation through their volunteerism. It's the Junior Forum is a great organization to be involved with. Very innovative women, new ideas, new ways that we can serve the Houston community. And I have been a member for over 40 years now, and I have some wonderful friends that have been helpful in seeing ways to serve that maybe we didn't even think of at the beginning, and now we're branching out in so many exciting ways.
Well, and most recently, due to the current pandemic that we're all living through, at Holly Hall, we haven't been able to have volunteers on campus, but the members this year have been very creative and found ways to support our residents from a distance. They made over 100 face masks for everyone at Holly Hall. Handmade face masks were donated very early on. They've written handwritten notes and greeting cards to our residents, which is just a joy for them to receive. From everyone helped with our mailing for our fundraiser. They picked up packets and brought them home and did that at home. So even from a distance, the forum has really been helpful during this time. And we've really had to kind of lock down and really focus on keeping our residents safe. But I do hope that our Junior Forum members will continue to be creative and supportive. So even though we have to be separate at the time, right now, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to normal at some point, and be together. But we are incredibly grateful for the support that the community has shown to Holly Hall during this trying time for all of us.
Good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Personally, because of my sort of unique perspective of being a staff member at Holly Hall, but also a member of the forum, I've really gotten to see firsthand how the forum impacts an organization. I really, I've gotten to participate in the volunteer service that we do at Holly Hall, and I've gotten to see the smiles on our residents' faces when volunteers are participating in activities with them or helping them with something. I've gotten to see firsthand how all of that equipment that we talked about has benefited our residents. Just the other day, I witnessed an exercise class that I probably should have participated in, and all the residents were using all the new equipment that was purchased through the funds that were provided from the Junior Forum. I've attended trainings on how to use the evacuation chairs that we have. I've seen residents, gather around and watch the World Series on the new TV that the forum purchased for Holly Hall. So I really have been so proud to be a part of the Junior Forum, and so glad that I could kind of have that unique perspective and experience that firsthand. So it's been a joy, really.